Yeah, not enormously. I mean, we're very fortunate here because we have a dome, a full-size dome. It's not something we like to use all the time in terms of using the senior players because of the surface. And some senior players are very wary, as everybody knows, about playing on artificial surfaces. But it's certainly going to give us a chance today to go in and do some sort of work with them and at least be able to walk through some of the work we would have done on the field, because the idea of taking the players onto the field today with these gusts of winds is totally out of the question. And as far as the journey is concerned, we were planning to leave here mid-afternoon. It now means, I guess, we might have to put that back a couple of hours to comply with government guidelines, but that isn't a problem either. So in actual fact, as far as we're concerned, it hasn't affected us particularly in any way.
Clearly for you, being in the dugout is where you belong. It's what you've done your whole life. And despite not picking up a win yet as Watford boss, do you feel like you've made good progressive strides on the training pitch with your team since you've been there, and you're not far away from picking up that first 3 points?
Difficult for me to answer the question, I suppose. I've been more than satisfied with the work that's been done on the training field. So certainly Ray and I have enjoyed the work, and we certainly feel that the players have, done their very best to sort of carry out any ideas we might have put their way. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any qualms about anything in that respect. But of course, it's not what you do on the training field, it's what results you get after the training week is over. And that's something which we are really hoping will change in our favour. And the sooner it changes in our favour, the better. But I can't really say anything negative at all about the way the players have responded to the work we've tried to do on the training field.
Obviously, everyone will look at the league table. For you, performances at this stage are probably more important because you get the performance right, inevitably you'll get the right result. But with you being 6 points adrift of Newcastle in the Premier League, how much is that a factor in your preparations, your mindset and the players? Do you just have to ignore the league table at this stage, or do you feel very much conscious and aware of the dangerous, precarious situation the club's in?
It's the question would have to be answered really in two parts. I mean, the fact is you can't ignore any situation. One of the silliest things you can tell people to do is forget about it, because by telling them to forget about it, you are highlighting the fact that there's something to remember. So we can't go on that one. But we also know we can't change the situation. We were 3 points behind them before the weekend, and they won and we lost, so we go 6 points behind the team that's out of the relegation zone. It's a fact of life. It's something which has happened, and nothing we can say or do about that will change the situation. What we can do is to continue working. There's a lot of games left to play for. There's still a lot of points up for grabs, and all we can do is to try and make certain that every time we go out onto the field of play to play against our next opponent, that we've prepared the team in the best way we possibly can, and that they're ready for the challenge. And then you hope maybe that a little bit of luck will come your way, and you'll win a game maybe that you haven't even played as well as you would like to have played it. But that can sometimes be the catalyst for more points to come your way. And we've seen Norwich take 7 from 9, and we've seen Newcastle take 9 from 9. So if those two teams, which are also in the relegation zone, can do it, we have to continue believing we can as well.
You talk about 7 from 9 for Norwich, 9 from 9 for Newcastle. Is that how you approach the next 15 games? Do you take them in blocks of 3 and go, right, we need to get 7 points out of 9 from these 3? Do you take them game by game? Do you do 5 games? How do you kind of break up the games ahead? Or is it just boring, one at a time?
Yes, very boring, very simple, one at a time. Take the next one, put all your concentration into that one, put all your efforts into making certain the team is in the best possible shape to get points from that game. And then when that game's over and you're faced with the result of what that game has given you, you then move on to the next one. But no, I don't know. I often hear people suggesting that managers work that way, that they sort of compartmentalise the year into these are the moments we'll get points and these are the moments we won't. But I've never done that, and I say don't intend to start now.
Up next, Aston Villa. and you'll be up against a man you know very well indeed, Steven Gerrard, who, of course, you managed whilst you was England boss for 56 games, and, of course, while you were at Liverpool as well. This is probably going to sound like a stupid question, but then you're probably used to stupid questions from journalists. Did you always see Steven Gerrard as a manager? Did you always see him when he was on the pitch, when you were working with him for England and Liverpool, that he had the qualities needed to go into the dugout? Obviously, clearly successful at Rangers, and he's had a big impact at Aston Villa. Was that something that you saw immediately when you were working up close with Steven Gerrard?
Yes, I did. I mean, I think when it comes to people like Steven Gerrard and now Frank Lampard at Everton, Wayne Rooney at Derby County, with those guys who were such icons as players, so good as players, the only question was going to be whether they wanted to take the step into football management and coaching. It's a precarious step. It's not a long-term profession for most people starting off their careers these days in their mid-30s. So my only thought would be, are they wanting to go into management and coaching with all the wonderful things that it gives you, but of course all the uncertainty that it brings, or would they choose, like many other of their famous contemporaries, to maybe go into more the journalistic line where they go into punditry and commenting on games? I think for the game of football itself, it's wonderful that those three that I just named have got into football as I know it, on the field of play, in the dugout, trying to improve teams, trying to get football results. I'm delighted they've chosen that route because they have so much to give. And I think all three of them have shown that already. And perhaps Steven in particular, with his stint at Glasgow Rangers and his beginning at Aston Villa, has shown that he has the making of a really, really top manager and coach in the future.
And final one from me. Did Steven or Frank or Wayne pick up the phone to you and ask for any advice? Clearly, you've been in management for many, many years. Did they pick up the phone and say, help me out, tell me what I need to do, where are the pitfalls, and give me some advice from all your years of wisdom?
No, although I have spoken to all three of them at various stages and we've had conversations, but none of our conversations have revolved around, I need your advice. And I think you find that for players that they're much more likely to turn to their club coaches than to their national team managers, because we saw so little of them. The amount of time we spent with them on the training field, the coaching field was far, far less than they would ever have spent with their managers at their various clubs. And of course, they played under some fantastic managers. So I'm pretty certain that they will have asked for advice, but no, I've not given them any advice at all. So I can't be blamed when they don't do well.
Thanks ever so much, Roy. All the best.
Thanks.
Hi, Roy. You okay?
Good, thanks, yeah.
Yeah. Just continuing from Mark's question, really. What have you made of the job Steven's done at Aston Villa in the short time he's been there, and what kind of game are you expecting up there?
Well, they're a good team, Aston Villa. They've been a good team for a long while. But Steven has obviously had a big impact. He's brought one or two very important players into the club, or players have been brought in this January transfer window, which have made them, if anything, even stronger, even more potent as an attacking force. And I think that his management style is a really good management style. I think he handles himself so well with the mass media. I'm certain he handles himself well in the training session. I'm certain the players will be reacting to his advice and to the things he wants them to do. So we know that the task isn't easier since Steven took over, because he's had such a good start to his time up there. And of course, they're also playing after a defeat last weekend, so they're going to be even more interested in putting that right now. So the task for us is a tough one, but it was always going to be a tough one. But certainly Steven's arrival at the club and the good work he's done hasn't made that task any easier.
And in terms of your own team's form, do you just need to be a little bit more sort of clinical in front of goal? Maybe the forwards and the players, when they get in those positions, show a little bit of ruthlessness in front of goal. And if you get the first goal suddenly up there, the game's potentially there to be won, isn't it?
Well, it's very true, but I don't know how many managers you will interview this weekend that will tell you anything different. You know, that's the classic cry from all teams that are nowhere, not scoring like Manchester City score, Liverpool score, all the rest of us who find goals a bit hard to come by. That will be the classic cry. You know, if only we could take our chances. If only we could be a bit more clinical in front of goal. If only we could be a bit more ruthless. If only we could create a bit more chances or a few more chances by playing some better football through the midfield area, etc., etc., etc. It's a fact of life, really. And I suppose the bottom line is that, you know, you ask me that question because I'm the manager of a club in the bottom three, but you don't need to ask the question when you speak to Guardiola a little bit later on.
Yeah, it is. It is very, very true. So, what's needed then to go up there and get a good result and get that first win on the board for yourself and the team, Roy?
Oh, really, the same as what is required in every game we play. I mean, the first thing we've got to try and do is to make certain we know that they are a very lively attacking team with some very, very dangerous attacking players. They were like that last season before they added Coutinho, Buendia and Digne. So we know that's going to be a question that's going to be asked of us. They're going to put us under some pressure defensively. They're going to get crosses in. They're going to be dangerous in and around the penalty area with the quality of the players they've got. So the first thing I suppose we're going to have to do if we want to get a result is to try and stifle that. And then I think we've got players in our team that have got pace and got ability up front. The second thing we've got to hope for is that when we succeed, or if we succeed in stifling those threats, and we get the ball ourselves, that we get the ball into those front players and give them the freedom and the license to take players on, to make runs behind defenders, and hopefully, you know, take advantage, quite simply, of any space that we might get as Aston Villa move forward and try to put us under pressure in our half of the field.
Brilliant. Like, best of luck and a safe journey up there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the end of broadcast section. Anything now from 10:30